Hey YouTube, Pacific TacWest here, bringing you an overview of the Benchmade Infidel knife. Now this one is in the olive drab finish. And as you can see right there, the Infidel. Now the overall length of this knife is pretty much 9 inches, technically 8.95. The blade length alone on this is 3.95 inches. This happens to be branded as the Law Enforcement Military Elite Edition, and it's still designed by McHenry. Similar to other out the front or double action knives, it has a firing mechanism for deployment and retraction of the blade. Now, having owned other types of double action knives, the one thing I'll say about the Benchmade Infidel compared to, say, a Microtech is that there appears to be travel time or excess travel in the firing mechanism itself, as opposed to, say, the Combat Troodon, which is similar in size to this knife, and I'll show you that here in a moment. Also, when you do deploy the blade, the firing mechanism inside doesn't feel as strong as a Microtech. Now that being said, the knife itself it's a sturdy knife. What I just refer to as my personal preference in terms of the feel that the blade has when it's being deployed. Now, to put it in comparison next to the Combat Troodon, they're close. I mean, obviously, the blade thickness, or the width of the blade on the Troodon is much thicker, but the overall length of the knives is comparable if you're debating which one you wanted to carry, and if you're fortunate enough to live in a state that allows you to carry these types of knives legally. But let's get back to the Benchmade. So, as I said, the overall length of this knife is about 9 inches. The blade itself is made out of D2 steel. Now, if you're not familiar with the different types of steel that knives are made out of, I've put a link in the description field that'll take you to the BladeHQ website that does a great job explaining the different types of steel that are used in various knives and tools. The weight of this knife measures in at 5 ounces. This is also an easy way to determine if you have an authentic Benchmade Infidel or a clone. Clones are typically heavier. I've purchased one through a Chinese website, and it came in almost about 3 times more than the weight of this knife. This is an extremely light knife. It's a double-edged dagger-style blade, as I said, made out of D2 steel. And the difference, obviously, between this and a Microtech is the location of the firing mechanism. As opposed to being up here, this knife does feel slightly ergonomically more comfortable than a Microtech in terms of when you take it from your pocket, your thumb is already there. It just feels natural. Now, the handle on this is made out of aluminum, and it has some great millwork on it in the grip there, as you can see. That just makes so that this knife doesn't slide in your hand. In fact, when you rub your thumb right in here, you actually feel if you push down hard enough, you actually might cut your finger on the texturing of that. But again, very clean ramp, very smooth firing mechanism. Just I noticed in terms of travel where it's only about there where the blade deploys. And the spring mechanism in this doesn't feel that it is as strong as a Microtech. However, as I showed you before, that doesn't detract from the functionality of it. It's just my personal preference. The pocket clip on this is not movable, and because of the design of it, it doesn't matter if you're going to carry this left or right-handed. It's a great ambidextrous automatic double action knife, whereas the Microtechs you need to rotate the pocket clip for user preference. So overall, I do enjoy this knife. I'm pleased to have it in my collection and in my EDC rotation. So again, from Pacific TacWest, this has been an overview of the Benchmade Infidel and the olive drab finish. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.